Joining us, early start to the morning. Hopefully it's worth coming out and one of the better presentations of the day for you. We're definitely excited. So as mentioned by Berger earlier here, I'm with the Green Organic Dutchman, Executive Vice President. It's a new IPO that's coming up this year in the Canadian marijuana space, being brought to you by a team of people that have done two really successful transactions in the past. And that team's made up of Dave Doherty, Rob Anderson, Mark Cernovich, myself, and a colleague of ours, Danny Brody. So we originally brought to market about three and a half years ago, Organigram Holdings. We got involved with that company, financed it for about the first $25 million, structured it and brought it to market. And then more recently brought to market late last year, Emblem Corp. With the two of them together, a combined market cap now of over $500 million. So it really is a team of people that know the industry well, have the ability to leverage both the financial aspects of the industry as well as the technical aspects of the industry, which we think gives us a really good shot of putting this together properly and delivering the expectations shareholders have. Let's do a quick screenshot of where we are today. A couple things that set us apart from some of our peers. We got licensed in 2007, or last year in August of 2017, and we started off with a 25-acre property, which is a fairly large property as far as Canadian producers go. We then closed an acquisition at the end of the year for an adjoining 75 acres of land, which brings us up to 100 now, which is, I believe, in the top 2 or 3 in the country of land packages. Why that's really important in Canada is the license you get to produce under Health Canada is specific to your address. So if you get licensed, you can't go and build a facility across the street or down the road or in another province. It is specific to that address. So you have a lot of our peers, great facilities, but don't have the ability to expand as this recreational market comes on, are landlocked. So it does give us a significant upside. One of the other things that set us apart very differently is we are 100% organic production facility. From the farm, the production facility is on. There's reforestation, there's geothermal, there's solar power. All of the SOPs, standard operating procedures, and the inputs we use growing are all organic certified. Not only do we think that creates and grows a much stronger and better product, but you look at the trends of where things are going, whether it's in produce, cannabis. There's definitely a strong demand for the organic sector and organic products. We're one of only 3 producers in the country that are able to produce that kind of product. I say the organic thing's nice. People want it. There's a bit of a selfish reason to it as well. The prices in the industry right now are quite high, and there is going to be a point where there is going to be some downward price pressure, and some level of commoditization will happen. And when that does happen, you need to have some differentiators that really do set you apart from your peers. And the organic production is one of those. But a bit on the selfish side as well is the average price across the industry right now for regular product is about $8 a gram. As you can see up on the slide here, in the mid $3 range is what we're seeing for average price of organic product. It's a slightly higher cost for producing it, but not by much. Well offset by the increase in margin we get when selling our product. I think this is what we're really talking about here today. We are going live on our second round of financing. In fact, it went live at the show yesterday. I think Michael actually broke the news for us. But people are always asking what we're doing with the money that we're raising. And this will give you a pretty good idea. So the current facility right now is about 7,000 square feet. It's a closed, really high quality indoor facility. We're growing in our first harvest at the moment. I believe we're about 4 weeks away, and then consecutively every few days we have additional harvests coming up. But what we're doing and adding to the company is really where the excitement comes for us. We're doing a 2-pronged approach to expansion on the facility. We're going to be building a 20,000 square foot additional high-end indoor facility to a pharmaceutical standard. At the same time, we're adding 125,000 square feet of production space in a hybrid greenhouse, fully automated hybrid greenhouse. The two of those additions, it adds 13,000 kilograms of production annually to the 1,000 we're currently having. You can do the math on that at $11 a gram. There's some pretty attractive numbers. The engineering is well underway for that. We expect to break ground in the next month and a half, 2 months. We're up in Canada, so we're going to wait for the ground to thaw out a little bit. But once the temperatures perk up, we'll break ground on those. And we expect to have the construction completed and first harvest coming out of the facility by Q2 of next year. By Q2 of next year. There was another question we get a lot is, these are serious construction build-outs by themselves, not to mention the tie-ins of the marijuana sector and the complications that come in there. So how does a small company like us that's really getting up and running, and how do we manage that and make sure we stay on budget, make sure we stay within our timelines, and make sure we build things to the quality and standards that need to be built to. So what we've done is we've gone out, we've built out some really cool partnerships. We have Eaton Powers, the second largest power company in the world. We've brought them in not just as a consultant, we brought them in a strategic partnership. So they're going to be providing all the engineering for free. They're going to be doing all the delivery of power equipment at cost, so it'll be a 40% discount to market. They have senior management coming onto our advisory boards and working with us, and they're investing alongside of us. We're doing the same thing with Honeywell. I'm sure most of you know who that is. And we're doing that as well with Ledcor, it's the second largest company in Canada, and they're a construction management company. So by doing that, we really leverage relationships we've had by bringing other ventures to market over the years. And it's a way for us to bring expertise that we do not directly have. So really, really strong team. There's a couple tombstones there you can take a look at. We've got executive management from both Ledcor, Honeywell, and Eaton sitting on our business projects board. So we do have a short time, and I like doing question and answers a bit more than sitting up here and preaching, so I will move through this quickly. We'll just go through the sales strategy for our company. It is a three-pronged approach. At the moment, we're focused specifically on wholesale delivery. So we're selling directly to other licensed producers in the country who either are not able to grow enough product at this point or have a lot of patients that are asking for organic product and they're not able to grow that. So it's a great avenue for us to be able to get to near-term cash flow very quickly, not have to take on the overhead of building out a retail division, a sales department, and customer handling. That will come on later down the road. We're looking at late in the year, we will add that on. You can clip an extra 20% in margin by adding on that side of things. But for us, I think we're focused on building out the facility and to try and spread your time and resources into developing a retail sales strategy while trying to drive the growth of the actual facilities. I think would spread things thin. So we're focusing on the build right now, and once that's comfortably put away, we'll be moving into the retail sales side as well. Part of our strategy looks at doing joint venture opportunities. We've got 100 acres of property, and we're looking at building out a campus approach. We can't go into too much detail on that. There'll be more that comes to light in the coming weeks and months. But the idea is to partner with some really interesting distribution partners, utilizing the acreage that we have and the license we have. A little bit about the founding group behind the company. Jeanette, sitting somewhere over there. Jeanette and her husband started the company about 4 years ago. Did a fantastic job of putting the company together. Realized they got it to a point that they needed some serious capital to come in and people that had built out large facilities in the past. And that's how the partnership between our group and them was formed. Done a great job of building out the organic platform and vision for the company. It's something we're very excited about continuing on. There's a really strong board of directors. I won't go through their bios. Come chat to me later. You can pull them up on our website or on our presentation. But we've got some very strong people. we've got the chairman of the commission, Calgary Police Commission, sits on our board. There's some very strong people on there. We've taken a bit of a different approach to a lot of our peers in the way we've approached growing. There's every company, whether it's a grower in the U.S. or grower in Canada, has a master grower and the best grower and the smartest grower. None of these people at the end of the day have grown in large-scale commercial operations, especially in Canada. It's been high quality but small scale. So we've taken an approach of bringing on a really science-based team and then complementing that with a lot of cannabis-specific experience. But you can take a look through the team there. We've got a couple people with masters in agriculture, and our master grower, quite interestingly, is now finishing his PhD in post-harvest. So really looking at how to keep the qualities that cannabis has to the level it was when cultivated, when it's been stored and sold. But it's a science-based team, which we're quite happy about. So the summary is, again, organic, one of only three. We really, this is something we believe in, and we will continue to drive. The capacity bringing online will be going from 1,000 kilograms of production to 14,000 by the middle of next year. So some pretty exponential growth coming up for us. A strong team of financial, business, and industry professionals, and some really interesting strategic partnerships coming down the road. I mentioned we're doing a financing right now. We just went live in our second round. Our first round of financing, we did $13.5 million. What we do quite differently to a lot of our peers as well is no institutional money invited into our financings. All the investors that we bring in are individual retail shareholders. So we added 1,300 shareholders to our shareholder registry in our last round. So it's an average of about $10,000 per investor. We're doing a little bit of a flip on the head for the industry, and we're tired of seeing institutional investors getting involved in these deals at these pre-public rounds, and then having the retail people having to come pick the stock up at inflated rates once it's public. So we're making a big effort to try and get people involved now and let them take that ride with us instead of meeting them once we're already out the door. The valuation of the round we're doing right now is a pre-money valuation of $106 million. So this slide gives you a good idea based on our peers. We're at least half the valuation of any of our peers, and that goes again with the way we want to work with retail shareholders, as we're underwriters of financings. We like to leave some on the table and make sure there's room for growth for everyone that gets involved, but not even taking into account the acreage and the expansion possibilities that we have. I think we're in a very fair valuation spot. So as I said, we're doing the financing now. It'll be done at $1.15 a share. There will be a full warrant attached to that for 2 years at $2.15. Those warrants will also be tradable. There'll be a 6-month hold from trade on the units sold, and we are anticipating an October IPO go public event. That's it for me. I'd love to take any questions anyone has, and please.
When are you anticipating the IPO coming out?
In October of this year.
Are you going to put out a red herring?
Pardon me?
Are you going to put out a red herring?
A red?
Red.
Can't hear you.
Prospectus.
Oh, yeah, no, it'll be prospectus filed, absolutely.
When can we expect to get that?
The prospectus will be done in conjunction with the IPO, so I'd suspect, within the month prior. Yes?
It seems like you draw a line between organic cannabis and other cannabis that are grown into other companies. Is that because you're trying to eliminate the factor of contamination and it's more sell to the medical users?
Yeah, so, and we'll get one thing straight. Canada has some very high quality product being grown by all of our peers, organic or not. I challenge any of you to come up to Canada, and anyone that does, use it medicinally or recreationally, the product coming out of Canada is some of the best in the world. And a lot of that has to do with the standards we're held to by Health Canada. The big difference between organic and non-organic product is the different fertilizers and pesticides that are used during the growth cycle. Those are still very regulated by Health Canada, and they are supposed to be out of the half-life of those is less than the growth time of the plant. But we use no chemical fertilizers or pesticides at any point during the growing process.
Or is that more attractive to the medical?
Yeah, I think, even recreationally it does. From what we've seen and the feedback we're getting is you get better terpene profiles, a better smell, a better taste of the product, a better quality product. But I would think too, if you're someone that's ill and you're using marijuana specifically as a medication, putting something in your body that's got pesticides or fertilizers being used in that process wouldn't be something I'd want to do. But to each their own. Yeah.
Where's your location as far as the problem?
Yes, we're in Ontario, about an hour outside of Toronto. Yeah. Yes.
Will you do direct mail or back down to Toronto Exchange?
Yeah, we'll be listing on the Toronto Exchange. We'll likely be doing a concurrent OTC listing as well. So it'll be over the counter down here probably on the QX is what we would do. Yeah.
Do you have any idea who's going to be handling the underwriting?
Not at this point. We've got some pretty good relationships with a lot of the firms. We're looking at this round we're doing right now. We've got GMP, Mackey, PI, Canaccord, Dundee are all going to be participating. Which one we decide to take when we do our IPO will be decided. How that relationship goes forward.
The name of the company is going to be Green Organic Dutchman?
It is. Yeah, Green Organic Dutchman Holdings.
I'm sorry, what's the question?
What's the name of the company?
Yep.
What is it?
The Green Organic Dutchman.
Oh, it is.
Yep. Or our abbreviation is TGOD. We're hoping to get that symbol too. I think we've got it secured, so that'll be good.
So y'all just got licensed at marijuana?
Yeah, so Jeanette and Scott started building the facility over 3 years ago. The licensing process is pretty grueling, but we are one of the newer licenses to come to market. So we were licensed in August of last year.
So how long have you been actually making your grants?
So we're coming up to our first harvests right now. Yeah, so our first harvest will be in the next 4 or 5 weeks. You've got another week and a half of processing and curing of the product, and then you go through Health Canada testing. So realistically 7 to 8 weeks to market.
You're not looking for any problems or you'll solve them?
There's always problems that pop up. It's making sure you've got the people in place and the procedure in place to know about them beforehand or navigate them. I think we've got a fantastic growing team. As I said, as much as this is, it's a new license, this is our third company we've built in the space and brought to market. So there's a good track record of, understanding and knowledge within the industry prior to starting this company. Yeah.
What's your timeline on a sales license?
We should have our sales license in the next 3 months, realistically. So as you come through Canada, when you get a cultivation license, you go through a couple first harvests and batches, and barring those pass Health Canada's testing and their standards, and you're able to sell them, you move through into the sales licensing.
So you've done your testing already, or?
No, so our first harvest come out in about 4 to 5 weeks. Those will be tested. I think we've got 8 batches in a row coming behind each other. So we anticipate 6 weeks from there, 8 weeks from there. Yeah. Yeah.
How do you go about building your customer base? You can't advertise.
So it's an interesting one. We're right now the way patients find out about you is either coming to conferences like this, medical conferences. There's a lot of outreach to doctors and clinic networks, educating them on what sets you aside from your peers. Hopefully that they then provide a reference when prescribing to a patient. There's social media outreach, but another part of our plan is with the shareholder base we're building, the retail shareholder base. We've got 1,300 shareholders now. We expect to have 5,000 by the time we go public. If 33% of those people are users of cannabis, whether recreationally or medical, there's a pretty good base of patients coming in there as well.
What about wholesale?
The wholesaling's, there's only 38 of us licensed in the country. So we all know who each other are. We're all talking to each other regularly. We sit on different associations and boards with each other. So there's a very fluid conversation between them. And there's a lot of inter-industry wholesale transactions taking place. We've definitely spoken to a lot of our peers. Selling the product's not the issue at this point. It's growing good quality product, and making sure you don't get yourself in a position where your product's recalled. We've seen some of our peers have had that problem, and that's not great for the industry, right? There's a rising and sinking tide, and at a place where you're trying to transition this industry from black market into a regulated market, having those kind of things happen only adds ammunition to the advocates against it. So the industry does work. We work together to try and help each other, navigate those issues. Yeah.
So I know that licenses are held to a pretty high standard of Canada. But what about the people who can grow it without getting licensed? Just the individuals, are there any controls over that? I mean, not going to find the same level of quality that you all.
They don't, and a couple of our industry boards and peers have actually gone out and had groups acquire product from dispensaries and from the black market and get it tested. And you put those test results up next to what we're expected to grow to as licensed, regulated producers, and it's night and day different. I think it's definitely something that's a concern to the industry. It's not an even playing field. I think the product will speak for itself. I think once the system's had its kinks worked out, I think you're moving into a market that's being regulated for one reason, really, in my opinion, and that's for good old Uncle Sam to collect his tax dollars. You can get away with a lot of things in a lot of countries. America, the same. You look at what happened during Prohibition. When you start playing with the taxes that the government's looking to bring in, which is what they're doing, I think you'll see a big shift in the government's focus on how that's dealt with. Yeah. Yes?
2 questions. How much was your first round of financing, and then how much is the second?
So the first round we went out to raise $10 million. We ended up with about $36 million in orders at 50 cents, and we took 13.5. The round we're doing right now is at $1.15 a share with a full warrant at $2.15. We'll see how much we end up taking. It'll likely be in the $20 to $25 million range.
Okay, and then second question is, you started 3 years ago to build out, and you're just now coming to harvest, and it's taken 3 years. And this next one, when you build out, you're only expecting it to take a year.
Yeah, so.
Already have you licensed it?
Yeah, so it's all licensing is what it comes down to. The construction part it's a construction timeline. The licensing with Health Canada it's a grueling and long process. That there's people that have been waiting 5 years to get licensed, 6 years. So it's a long process. It was the licensing that took the time up front. I'm getting told I've run out of time, so I'm going to I'll be at the back if anyone else wants to come have some questions. I'm more than happy to chat a bit further. Thanks again for coming out.